All right, good morning, everyone. I'm Catherine Snyder. Here we are at the Center for Spiritual Living, Boulder Valley in Lafayette, Colorado. Centers for Spiritual Living is an organization that teaches that each of us is a divine being. What we think and say matters, and that we can change our life by changing the things that are going on within. And we begin each of these talks with a prayer, and I often have Jim pray, and he is not here.
Yes.
Robert, do you mind doing that? Would you mind praying us in?
I would not mind. And Jim is here.
Oh, Jim, you are here. Marvelous. Would you pray us in, Jim, as you usually do so wonderfully?
Okay, I'll try. Okay, we all gather today in common spirit to experience our true joy and happiness. We will listen and embody the message. We would like to all be happy, content, and healthy. So that is my intention, our intention, to spread this message and this fellowship. I believe that we are part of the one true God, that we express God's will through our deeds and actions. And I thank Him very profoundly very profoundly for all that I have received. And I know it will be so because the law of manifestation is true, is real. And I believe this is so. And I say in closing, and so it is.
Thank you so much, Jim. Now, our speaker today is our new minister, the Reverend Dr. Robert Brzezinski, and I, for one, am incredibly excited to welcome him. And I think we all are as our minister. Thank you, Robert, for joining us. He's spoken, of course, before. This is his first time speaking as the official minister. So take it away, Robert.
Thank you, Catherine. And thank you, everybody, for being here. I haven't personally. I want to be really real with you folks. I always do. And these Sunday mornings, I believe, are something unique and different. And we're not just trying to do church in a virtual box, right? Everybody agree with that? If you think we're doing church in a virtual box, well, let's have a conversation. Because my understanding and what I see is this is the prime opportunity to actually have a conversation. And next week, on the second Sunday every month, that's the prime opportunity to have a celebration. And on the third week, it's the prime opportunity to be back in conversation. And in the fourth week, it's the prime opportunity to anchor in what we've been discussing or celebrating all month long. So as your spiritual director, it is an honor and it is a privilege and it is a challenge sometimes to find the perfect theme that fits the month when we have yet to really experience what the month is going to bring into our lives. So February, knowing that this was all put together back in late December or early January, February is about the theme is raising the vibe in 2025. And that's something that came to me as far back as September, where my vision, my experience, the way I get to do all of this stuff, way back in September, I was starting to look at, well, what is 2025 going to hold? What do we want to do? And everything I did came back to this concept of raising the vibe, raising the vibe. So I go back and, as a good minister does, you go back and you start doing some research on the words themselves. And we could trace the concept of vibration back, way, way back. But the idea of a vibe first really comes into play in American culture in the late 60s. That was the Beach Boys. Good, good, good vibrations. Now, there was, since about the 40s, there was the vibraphone was available in the United States, and in some places the word vibe was used as a short as an abbreviation for vibraphone. What's on your vibraphone? What are you listening to? But along come the 60s, and along come the Beach Boys, and they come forward with good, good, good vibrations. And interestingly enough, Brian Wilson originally wanted to sing the words as good vibes. However, he was convinced that that was a lazy use of language. And so they went to good vibrations. What that means is that everybody in this room, and pretty much anybody ever watching this video, if you've been in any way in touch with North American US culture in that time, I think it's probably safe to say you've heard the song Good Vibrations somewhere. Whether it's the original, whether it's a live version, whether it's a cover version, it doesn't matter. We've heard this concept of good vibrations. Good, good, good vibrations. And of course, you're all getting to know me, but I love asking questions, and I love taking those deeper dives, and taking the time in my meditation to really consider what words mean and ideas mean, and so what's your vibe? I believe becomes very, very important to us, because the vibration you bring. Well, we're all metaphysicians around here. We've all read enough. We know the vibe we bring is going to be part of what we create. Now, we start to talk about creation. And to me, that is ultimate in what New Thought is all about, of what religious science is all about. It is how we create. And in sessions like this, and talks like this over years, I am sure you have all heard all kinds of ideas to remind ourselves how we're creating. And in that, there is also a bit of sometimes confusion. So knowing we're going to be talking about vibrations and what's the vibe and raising our vibe and throughout the entire month, I want to start us off with some deeper contemplations on what it is we're going to be talking about and what it means. Because if we start, as soon as you start thinking about vibes, we start to feel energy, and we start to experience energy. And in the New Thought movement, energy, well, it's kind of the ground of all being, right? But there's also this thing in New Thought that we talk about a lot, and you've heard me say and others say, consciousness is everything. Here's the thing. Consciousness and energy are not the same. They're similar, but they're not the same. Now, if we want to, so we're going to look today a little bit at the uniqueness, the similarities, and those places where consciousness and energy, we want to make a distinction. So some basic ideas today. New thought asserts that all is one and separation is an illusion. I think we're all probably nodding our heads. Yep, agree to that. Both energy and consciousness emphasize the creative power. Now, consciousness shapes reality through our thought, our intention, and our beliefs. Thoughts, intentions, and beliefs. Energy is a dynamic vibrational force that manifests those thoughts, intentions, and beliefs and takes them into and makes them into form. Consciousness directs energy through mental and spiritual focus. Energy responds to the patterns of consciousness, manifesting experience in alignment with one's dominant beliefs, with what we're thinking about. Now, both consciousness and energy support spiritual healing and transformation. Conscious healing, healing from a consciousness perspective, we're changing our thought patterns, and therefore we shift our experiences. Energy healing, we're talking about vibrational states, how they affect our health, our abundance, and our well-being. Everybody with me? Remember, this means yes. This means no. This means I have no idea what you're talking about anymore, Robert. Slow down, go back. Now, there are some places where this differs. So if we look at the idea of consciousness as everything, compared to energy as the center of all being, by its definition, consciousness, fundamental reality, exists within the divine mind. Energy is a universal force that animates and interconnects all of life. So already we know both these things are necessary, right? We're not coming to a conclusion that one or the other. We're working our way to a better understanding of the both and that is required. So the primary focus of consciousness, thought, awareness, mental patterns. Primary focus of energy, vibration, flow, movement of life force. If we want to talk about spiritual practices, consciousness, we talk more about affirmations, visioning, prayer, our alignment with divine mind. If we're talking about energy, we're talking about breath work, meditation, Reiki, other energy balancing type of practices. We look at the teachers across New Thought. Energy work originates at the beginning of the New Thought movement with Emma Curtis Hopkins, Wallace Wattles, others. Dresser, very into the energy of healing. New Thought emphasis on consciousness is where we come to Ernest Holmes and Charles Fillmore. And those two, and Myrtle Fillmore, excuse, a lot of times we forget Myrtle, and I apologize to Myrtle for that. So Ernest and the Fillmores take the concept of energy as the ground of all being and shift it into consciousness is everything. And that's where it ends. Well, not really. Come on. This is New Thought. It has to continue. But I think it's important that we recognize from the very beginning, before we get too far down the road of where it's going, because it um, and I'm really looking forward to our conversation today, because it is important to know not only what we're building, but what we're building with. I know we got a couple of contractors in the audience. You'll get you'll get these real quick, right? Consciousness provides the blueprint, and energy is the building material. Doesn't matter if we know what we want to build if we don't have some blueprint of how we're going to build that. Now, the beautiful part of all of this is we can work with consciousness, and we can use the practices of consciousness, visioning, prayer, to show us what it is we're building. And then we let the energy show up to build it, the building materials. Higher consciousness leads to a higher energetic vibration. Consciousness does seem, as we go through these principles, it does seem that consciousness precedes energy. That doesn't help to have much energy about it all if there's no consciousness to do it. Energy is shaped and directed by consciousness. And what that means is spiritual mastery truly involves both awareness and vibrational alignment, both consciousness and energy. It's a both and. We can look at this from a couple of long-term primary type of affirmations. I think, therefore I create. Consciousness is everything. What I feel, I attract. Energy is the center of being. So again, what true mastery comes when we consciously shape our thoughts and then align our energy with the divine flow, with the building blocks, with the energetic vibration. So what we're doing when we raise the vibe is we're creating what's necessary to fulfill the vision that has emerged from our consciousness. Everybody still with me? Right on. Again, part of why I love this community and this group. So, and I want to shout out before we start to get in too deep, before we start getting into questions and all that, I want to give a shout out to anybody that's watching this online on a YouTube or somewhere else, and you're watching a version of this talk, and you're watching just kind of the talk, and you're like, wow, I want to be part of that conversation. Yeah, you can be, but you got to sign up a little bit first. So just head over to the website, cslbouldervalley.org, and you can sign up for our newsletter. And then every week you get the newsletter, one email a week. That's all we send. It catches you up with everything that we're doing, and it gives you the access links so that you can join us in the Zoom room on a Sunday morning and hang out for the conversation that happens after this. You're invited to be a part of what we're doing. And so again, if you're watching this at any other time than the 8 or 9 people that are in the room with me right now, we'd love to make you number 10, number 11, number 12 in the room. You can join us any of the first or third Sundays of the month, second and fourth Sundays of the month if you're in the Colorado area, and if you're visiting or you live in the Colorado area, whatever that area is, I guess, you're welcome to join us live and in person. Again, sign up for the email list. You'll get all those details. Okay, so what do we do with this? Right, we've got to have I believe if from my perspective, consciousness precedes form. Consciousness precedes form, and form precedes action. So the question that kind of happens is what are we holding on to right now? What are we holding in our imagination right now? What are we thinking about? We have, I believe, now more than ever, we want to be clear about our thoughts, our intentions, our beliefs. Do we believe that there is separation and division in the population of North America right now? No, we can't. We don't have the luxury to believe in separation. Even though there are forces and those that don't understand all of this that are driving home a perception of separation, we can't buy into that. If we come to any of this with a consciousness that we are inherently broken, that you're not enough, that I'm not enough, that there isn't enough. If we come to any experience from that consciousness, well, the form's going to follow. And the activity is going to fulfill the vision, the consciousness of itself as well. When we're raising the vibe, we're active. The raising the vibe is at the activity level, right? If most of us, if you hear the term raising the vibe, I think about turning up the stereo. When I hear about raising the vibe, I think about being an example of joy in the world. I think of it being an example of creativity in the world. When I think about raising the vibe, most often it's music. And that's why it's so important that we create, I believe, a vibrational environment around us that keeps us in that place of remembering. It keeps us in a place of conscious creation for good. That's why I started New Thought Radio. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, going on over 5 years now, going into our 6th year here as New Thought Radio. It preceded New Thought Media Network. So you're getting a little bit of my history here. Before the pandemic, before New Thought Media Network, way back in the earlier parts of 2019, I launched a internet radio station called New Thought Radio. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can hear all your favorite New Thought artists. Great vibrations. I don't have the Beach Boys on there. I can put them on there, and I think I have to now after this talk. So we'll get them into the rotation too. Right? Anyone with published music in the New Thought world, we bring that mix into the experience. So you have another opportunity to create an environment, a consciousness of good, of plenty, of oneness. That's what I believe we're striving to do on Sunday mornings in these Zoom rooms. And it is what I believe we're doing on Sunday evenings, afternoons, when we have in-person services. We're creating an environment where we all can tap into that consciousness of oneness, not just the vibration. That comes later. We'll get there. Some of us are already doing that on a pretty consistent basis, and that's good. Remember, it's the first week in the month. We're getting our foundations down. So next week, when we are together and we're talking about energy and consciousness, we don't have to go over the basics. And by the end of the month, when we're experiencing this, we've already got a great understanding and a sense of excitement to actually put it all into form. So across this month, I invite you to stay with us. Next week, we'll be in person, 4 p.m. Mountain Time. And yes, the game will be available. So anybody that's concerned, the game will be available. However, we do have some great musical guests next week as well. Janice Kelly is going to be back with us, and she's bringing Lisa Bell. And it's going to be a really fun time. They've got a newer project. Both are longtime New Thought musicians, positive music creators in the area and in the state. And we invite you to make sure you bring your friends for next week. And yes, the game will be on. That also means everybody has to step up when it comes to the potluck, because we're going to be doing our potluck as well. And we have the best potluck in Boulder Valley. Let's not forget that. It happens once a month on the second Sunday at 5 o'clock. And if you can't make service, you got to bring 2 dishes to the potluck. No, I joke, but please do join us for the potluck after the service, and the game will be on, so don't worry about it. We'll determine who we're rooting for at that time, but. Folks, mostly I want to thank you. I want to thank you for those that are here live, and I want to thank those that are watching this at another time. Because if you are, I believe you're part of the future consciousness of New Thought. Whether your background is in religious science or divine science, whether your background is in unity or your background is in something newer than the basics, Universal Foundation for Better Living, Hillside, Agape, any of the independents, New Thought Philly, any of the organizations or communities out there that are doing this work, we are all raising a consciousness together. So I am grateful that you're entrusting to me some leadership in that. However, I don't intend to do it alone. So you're all welcome to be a part of that in whatever way works. We're going to stop the recording, I think, here. I'm going to actually pray real quick. Then we're going to stop the recording, and we'll get into the non-recorded discussion. So again, if you're watching to this point online, thank you. If you're in the room and you're in a place where you feel safe to close your eyes, I would assume you have been for the last 20 minutes or so. And we begin in consciousness. We begin in that place of coming to recognize, to remember, to realize, maybe to awaken to the deep truth that there is only one source, one supply, one ever expressing wellspring of love and light and beauty, of truth and health and wealth and well-being and abundance, prosperity. It's all part of the one. It's all God. We come from that consciousness where we know this is truth. The oneness revealing itself as all of life. My life, your life, the lives of those next door and down the road, across the planet, in another dimension, everyone that's in this room, as we recognize that energetic vibration, that form of life, of consciousness that is each one of us. For we are each unique vibrations. We are unique emanations of the one consciousness, of the consciousness of oneness. So we have within us everything necessary to express ourselves, to express this consciousness of oneness, to share that out into the world in the words that we use, in the ways we show up at the supermarket or the gas station, the ways we express the oneness online and in conversation, in sacred community. Each one part of this divine emanation of life. So we know there is one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. And it is my life, your life right now. And it could be no other way. So we take this consciousness of creation, of creating the good, and we express it out into the world. In whatever way feels right, in whatever way feels good. We make a commitment to be a living demonstration of this truth. I'm so very ready. Allow yourself to be inspired and be the inspiration. And call it good and very good. And so I am grateful in this moment, grateful to be a part of this community, grateful to be an expression of the divine, grateful to witness all the amazing ways everyone here brings forth that divine creation, grateful to witness the emanation, the evolution, the creation of life anew on this planet, in this world, in a new way, letting go of the old, letting go of what no longer serves, grateful to witness it. And to get out of the way and let it happen. Knowing we release this word into the universal law that must create, that cannot return this word void, but must take up this word and manifest. We release the word into that law and let it be. If any word here has resonated with you in any way, I invite you to join me in an affirmation of this truth as we say together, and so it is. So it is.
And so it is. Thank you very much, Robert.
And so my dog decides she wants in.
Come on, puppers. Come on in. All right, guys, before I stop the recording, of course, the money plug. If you found value in this, donate to our little cause at cslbouldervalley.org/donate. Robert, that was fantastic. In the words of the 60s, that was heavy. That was heavy. You know, the consciousness and energy are not the same. One's the blueprint, one's the building material. Can't wait to get into our discussion. First, though, the announcements. I want to get the announcements on the recording because we have a couple of really important things coming up this week. Thursday night, 7:00, community visioning. We're going to be building ourselves and our community. So come vision with us. Come let the light of spirit speak within and see what it says. All right. So community visioning, 7:00 Thursday, 7:00 p.m. Meditation, let me back up one day. Meditation in the morning, 7 a.m. Wednesday morning. Streamed live on YouTube. Would love to have you come and be there with us on that. And Saturday, February 8th, we've got a fantastic via Zoom workshop called Beyond the Looking Glass. Link for that is on our website as well. Please join us for that. And I believe that's all. Other than the Sunday service, 4:00, Super Bowl will be on in the other room when that starts. Fantastic potluck and book club on Tuesday. We're reading You Are Here, chapter 2. All right. Again, thank you, Robert. Thank you, everyone. And now we're going to get into our discussion about consciousness and that we have everything within us.